Back on sportsBIT, betting inside today. Money time play of the day coming up quickly with the deep dive MLK Day. A lot of games, usually smaller crowds and early starts, Teddy.
Yeah, okay, so here's the theory, all right? The theory is that the early start games on MLK Day stay under. And I remember this, again, I've been in Vegas since 1998. And this theory started to take hold, I don't know, about maybe 3-5 years after I came in. And there were a couple years where people went nuts betting unders on all of these games, because the theory is that everyone's going to come out sluggish. You know, NBA players live a night lifestyle, a late night lifestyle. When all of a sudden you've got to be on the floor at 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock or even 11 o'clock in the morning, makes a big difference in the pace of play. And of course, the crowds tend to be a little bit smaller for those day games on MLK Day, which means less energy in the arena, and in theory, the games are supposed to go under. And what happened? So 2 years ago, all right, unders go 7-1 in those early start games against the opener. So the theory, again, it gets all this weight, and people are paying attention. It was 6-2 against the closer. So what happens last year? The markets, again, they bomb away to the unders. As soon as the numbers come up, under. Look at the scoreboard results. What do you have? You know, a fair few games going under, but two, of course, go into overtime, and then double overtime, and end up going over the total as a result. So your databases aren't going to show necessarily how low scoring those games actually were in regulation. But the graphic clearly shows that once again last year, we're looking at a steady diet of A, under money that comes in on game day on MLK Day for the early start games, and B, relatively slow paces in these games that warrants all of that under money.
Yeah, so these early starts, you look on paper, it's like, wow. I mean, this could be a lot of high-scoring games. You got Atlanta and the Knicks, you got Portland and Washington. How'd the odds makers adjust this year?
Well, all we've seen is the openers. We haven't seen any movement off the openers as we record. We're still missing lines for 2 of the 5 day games for today. But Portland, Washington at 220, Philadelphia, Milwaukee at 206.5, New Orleans, Indiana at 214. All games that aren't expected to be relatively sluggish affairs, and all teams that like to get up and down the court. When you talk about the Wizards, the Blazers, and the Bucks, and the Pelicans right now. So, you know, the odds makers are not asleep on this particular trend. And when they see this type of action, what happens? You see adjustments. But I wouldn't be surprised at all, Paulie, if we see the markets really try to crash these under again, just like they did last year, where all the games, every single early start game, took under money. And that could eventually lead to some games perhaps being set too low, because we're not talking about great defensive matchups for the majority of these early start games. And even the 2 games without lines. I mean, Denver doesn't play a lick of defense. The Knicks haven't played a lick of defense in weeks. So all of those factors mean that we're going to see some very high openers. We're interested to see how the markets move.
That's right, the 8th annual SBR Forum Bash will be held at the breathtaking all-inclusive Hard Rock Hotel in Punta Cana on Super Bowl weekend. Join Natalie Rydstrom and the Odds Couple as they mingle with SBR pros and have fun under the sun. Stay tuned for video coverage of Bash activities, including a $5,000 poker tournament sponsored by uwager.eu. Only on SBR, your sportsbook authority since 1999.